So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing. So in this video I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts in regards to the event which took place on the weekend between Catterall versus Harlem Eubank. Now before I give you my overall opinion in regards to the main event, I'm just going to be talking about a few of the fights which are on the undercard, because there was some decent competitive fights on there. And hopefully majority of you guys watched the bill. It was decent. It was the main boxing that was on this weekend, so for me, I like to watch boxing, so it caught my eye. But the first fight I'm going to be talking about, so there's quite a bit of fights on this undercard, to be honest, but the fights which I was quite intrigued about were the debut for Leo Atang. He took on a Milan Puno, hopefully pronounced his name right, a journeyman. It was Leo Tang's first fight, so his debut fight. Coming into this fight at £226, so a young pup, 18-year-old, and to be honest, I know it's easy to say now, but he did look good. He did look good, and yes, it's a journeyman that he was fighting, and it was his debut, and he was meant to win. He couldn't have lost, but there was a lot riding on it because he signed with Eddie Hearn, and people are already saying that he's potentially the future. Like he's gonna be up there potentially, and this is very an early thing to say because the guy has only had one fight now on his record. He's got a long way to go, and you got Eddie Hearn after the fight was done doing his interview at ringside saying that this guy's the future. He believes he's going to be a world champion. AJ sees something in him, etc. So, yeah, there's a lot on the line, but in his debut he looked good, and some good body shots, some good punches that he was landing as well. So again, he's one fighter that obviously I will be doing hopefully quite a few more future videos regarding. But let's wait and see. Look very good, but he's fighting against nobody, so you can't really judge it on that performance. But what he did deliver on the night was very good for a novice fighter. Also on there, another fighter that obviously performed very well was Pat Brown. This is his third professional bout. He took on a Lewis Oakford as well, and it was a very good 1 round demolition by Pat Brown, and he's looking very good, and he's a big cruiserweight. But the thing that I like about Pat Brown, even though he looks very good in terms of letting his hands go, his power, his poised, he just looks like an old school fighter, but he looks like he can take a bit of punishment. He looks quite durable, and he's easy to hit, but he's one of these that I think he's got that a little bit between his teeth where in his head is saying, "Oh, you hit me once, I'm gonna hit you about 2 or 3 times harder," and that's exactly what happened in this fight. Pat Brown didn't really get going for the first minute, give or take, just over a minute. Just kept going forward, kept trying to slip shots, and then I think Oakford caught him with a couple of shots, and then he just let his hands go. As soon as he let his hands go, it was good night. It was curtains for Oakford, and Oakford is a good, credible opponent at this stage in Pat Brown's career, and he's dispatched him in 1 round. Now there's talk about potentially throwing Pat Brown in there with the English champion, whoever that may be currently, and hopefully the British cruiserweight champion. Now I believe the British cruiser is either what's those guys' names? Can't remember. It's got this out of my head right now, but I know who they are. Just the names have escaped my head, but I think putting him in there for an English title would be a good move, and then hopefully after that a British or Commonwealth title, because he's got the pedigree, he's got a lot of amateur experience, and he looks really good right now. So you don't know how good he is until you test him, and obviously the better the opposition, the more we find out about Pat Brown. But yeah, so far so good, and hopefully you guys could just continue to keep an eye out for Pat Brown. Another fight which I thought was decent, very competitive between both guys was Akib Fiaz versus Alex Murphy. Now, this was a mixed fight for me because Alex Murphy seems to be doing all the right things, and at one point I had him winning the fight. For me, he lost the fight on in the back end of it, the last 3 rounds, for me personally, but. He was doing all the right things. He just didn't have that power. He just didn't have that something which stopped Akim Fiaz in his weight, because Fiaz was taking a lot of punches, but none of them really hurting him. And every time he was letting his hands go, he did look like the bigger puncher in there. But it was frustrating to watch because you're looking and you're watching, you're thinking, Fiaz has got a bit more to offer. If he just does a bit more, he would stop Alex Murphy rather than it going to points. So it was a bit disappointing, to be honest. But based on that performance, I've only seen him on one other occasion, Fiaz. And based on the two, I'd probably say that he's only a 6-round fighter because he doesn't do enough in fights. And as he moves up the levels, you can't not do enough because people are not going to be like Alex Murphy where you can let your hands go and win the latter couple of rounds. That won't happen against the better fighters in his division. So I believe that at the minute he probably needs to work on his stamina to try and do more in fights, because he's got the skill, he just doesn't do enough for me. But yeah, good performance. He won the fight. He's got the W. That's all that matters. And in terms of Joe Cordina, again, Joe Cordina, this was his first fight back. He fought for WBO Global Lightweight belt. And he looked good. The early exchanges, Joe Cordina looked very, very good. And I was thinking, this Joe Cordina is the one that I thought was going to turn up against Anthony Cacace. But it wasn't this Cordina. But in this fight, he looked good. The craziest thing about it is that his opponent, Jarrett Gonzalez Queries or whatever, looked like a big puncher. Looked like, he wasn't scared to mix it with Joe Cordina. And at times, he did very, very well in exchanges, troubling Cordina, even though the scorecards look totally different in terms of the judges, 98 to 92, 99 to 91, 100 to 90. It looks like it's a one-way demolition, but it wasn't to be honest. The young pup caused Joe Cordina a little bit of problems at times. And yes, it is boxing, so he is going to get caught, he is going to get hit, but he was causing him some trouble. And he hurt Cordina on a few occasions as well. So that's the only thing that probably worries me really, is when he proper gets hit, how he got hit against Anthony Cacace. How is Joe Cordina going to react? But yeah, good performance for your first one back. He was out the ring for 14 months, so hopefully he could go on and do something in that lightweight division, because he's back in his natural weight now. So here we go, we're going to be talking about the main event itself now. To be honest, this fight bored the hell out of me. Such a boring fight to watch. Disappointment, to be honest. That's why I've gone through the undercard first, because just to kind of drag out a little bit. But this is not a fight which I'll be screaming for rematch anytime soon, and it's starting to become a theme with Jack Catterall, and I like Jack Catterall like as a person, but in the ring recently he just doesn't look the same. I don't know, I can't explain it, but his performances are starting to become boring. Even though he's got the skill and pedigree, he's not an exciting fighter. And when you're not an exciting fighter, you're going to struggle to fill big arenas, because people are not going to want to go and watch you. Even if you're in there against a big name. The only time they're going to want to go and watch you is if you're in there against the big puncher, because they know that you're more likely going to get knocked out than doing the knocking out, which is a shame. But anyhow, Jack Catterall wins the IBF Intercontinental Welterweight title. Harlem Eubank, unlucky because his cut wasn't as bad as what Jack Catterall's head cut was. And it seems as if they kind of stopped the fight on his cut rather than Jack Catterall's. But disappointing fight, to be honest. Jack didn't do enough, didn't excite people enough, didn't let his hands go as much as what I thought he would have. Kept nullifying his work by at times getting a little bit too close to let his shots off. But Harlem was disappointing as well because I don't know how or why he thought he won the fight at the end, but he just definitely didn't let his hands go. And I don't know what his level is in terms of Harlem Eubank, but getting beat by Jack Catterall now, even though it didn't go the full distance, could mess up his career path in the welterweight division, if you know what I mean. And he may have to go back down to 140 to try and be the bigger man in the fights, and maybe try and bully some of the 140 pounders, because I don't think he's going to do that in the welterweight division. But with Harlem Eubank, I just don't know where his level is. Is it British? Is it European? I don't know. But disappointing fight. Hopefully we don't see these two back in the ring going up against each other, because it will be a bore, and I certainly will fall asleep next time. But these are my thoughts in regards to the main event on the weekend. Let me know your thoughts. Was it a bore for you? Did Jack Catterall deserve to win it? Should the fight have carried on? As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Bless.